Okay, so we need to go through an example for a single alternative if statement. And we've done some work already with payroll and with personal information, right? So we want to, I was going to say, let's go ahead and pick up on one of those, but I don't know that everybody's got that same stuff in their system. So we're going to utilize first of all, an IBO chart. And so, Jaron, if you will, create a 3-column table, insert, and then go to table, and then choose 3 columns, and give it, go ahead and move to the right a little, there you go.
Just
and
3.
then down a couple more. There you go, that's good. All right, and that first column is going to be labeled input. The second column is going to be labeled process. And the third column is going to be labeled output. And let's just kind of continue with the idea of employee. All right? And we're going to check an employee's hours to see if they're greater than 40 so that they can get overtime. Everybody familiar with that scenario? All right, so on the input side, I'm going to have an employee class object. So employee object. And then beneath there, let's have what? Employee ID. Okay, and then employee name. Employee hours. And we'll need one more row. Well, we're not going to have OT on there, but let's go add one more row. Go ahead and you just click on this right down here, Jared. Okay, right click on employee hours. Right click on employee hours and say insert and row below.
Insert below. Okay.
There you go.
Gotcha.
And we're going to say employee rate of pay or wage. Okay. Now we're going to go to the output.
Okay.
And what we want to print out is the employee ID, then employee name, employee hours, employee wage, and then employee regular pay. And so we have to add one more row. Go ahead and click right on that bottom row, and then choose insert and row below. Okay, and then way over on that far right side, you're going to say employee overtime pay.
What do we need the rate of overtime pay as well?
We'll compute that. We'll compute that. That'll happen in the process. Okay, good question. All right, let's add one more row, and let's have a total pay that's also printed out. Okay, so we've got the output, we've got the input. Now we need to be able to check or do the process to arrive at a couple different things. And maybe if you'll point at these on the screen as I point at them, we have employee ID, we have employee name, we have employee hours, and we have employee wage. We don't have the amount of regular pay, we don't have the amount of overtime pay, and we don't have the total. So those are the things that we have to be able to do in the process. All right, so we're going with the scenario that every employee is under the same plan, and that if they have 0 to 40 hours, they'll get those hours at regular pay. Anything above 40 hours is going to be time and a half. 1.5 times their regular rate of pay. All right, so our first thing to do is to have an if statement that checks to see if we have greater than 40 hours. Okay? If we do, and let's put on the second line, we'll say true, and then a colon. We then have to, what? At regular pay, go ahead and say regular pay equals 40 times wage. Okay, and then on the next line down, we're going to space in so it's right kind of below the regular pay. And we're going to say overtime pay, OT pay, is fine, is equal to, parenthesis, okay, hours minus 40. What's that?
40 plus hours.
Well, if I have 42 hours,
Right.
how many are overtime?
2 hours.
Okay, so I'm going to take that 42 and minus 40. So I'm going to come up with the overtime hours, and that's the idea there. Okay, let's go ahead. And then times, well, you have the parenthesis right there. Go ahead.
Oh, gotcha.
Have that
Okay.
times symbol outside the parenthesis. Times wage times 1.5. Okay, and I might put that in parentheses too.
The
The wage times 1.5. Even though I may not have to, it reads better that way. This isn't going to fit on there, huh?
Yep.
Or did you hit the enter key to make it go down?
No, it does that as a
Okay.
because it doesn't have enough space.
So my overtime pay is going to be equal to hours minus 40. That should give me the total number of overtime hours times wage times 1.5, which should give me time and a half. Okay, then, so I'll have overtime pay set, I'll have regular pay set, and so now I'm going to do a false here. Okay, and then I will say regular pay is equal to what?
40.
If my hours were not greater than 40, then my regular pay is what? My hours are less than 40, or they are 40. So I can take my wage times regular hours, or times hours, can't I?
Wage times hours.
Okay, and on the next line, I would say overtime pay equals 0. Well,
Because you don't have any over. Yeah, you don't have any overtime.
if I'm in the false side of this if statement, that's saying that we didn't have greater than 40, so all I'm going to get is regular pay.
Right.
Now, we'll see afterwards that we probably don't have to do anything with that if we do something before the if statement. Okay, now, what I do down here is I compute total pay, and total pay is going to be equal to
Regular pay. I would say.
regular pay plus
Plus OT pay?
plus OT pay.
Yeah, that's.
Or no, double pay.
Double pay. Kevin's
No, we're-
making it rain.
We're not that nice of an employer, so we don't give double pay. All right, so this is considered our problem analysis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Input, process, and output. We now have an idea of what the input, process, and output are. All right, so let's go ahead and save this, Jared. And save as, and let's give it a name of,
If
if
statement.
statement,
Now we'll do payroll.
Let's go.
class, presentation. There you go, hit enter. Oh, you know what, I was aiming the presentation, not the IPO, but that's okay, that'll still work.
Okay.
All right, so keep this in mind. Print this out if you need to later on, okay? But now, we're going to minimize this, and we're going to go to, I'll go ahead and close that.